Madison, and welcome to Law Unfiltered, where I talk about current events and some of the legal implications. Yesterday began the Cosby trial, and as some of you know, he is being on trial for 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. And essentially what that says, and this is in Pennsylvania, is that you as this person committed an offense against another using some part of your body to penetrate the other person. And so in this particular case, what they're saying was Bill Cosby used his fingers to penetrate a female, and he did so without her consent, as well as by the use of drugs to pretty much enable her or disable her from being conscious during that whole incident. So we start with the opening statements, and I want you guys to know that for the next couple of weeks, I'm probably just going to stay on this trial so we can talk about how each testimony or each statement kind of ties into the elements that the prosecution has to prove, as well as some doubt the defense is going to try to make awareness from. So again, if you look at the opening statements, instantly, just visually, you see an interesting dichotomy. You have a prosecutor who's a woman, who's talking on behalf of the victim here, and this is again a woman, and she's laying out the case that here you have a man that has come across as a father figure, not only to the public, but even to this individual. He set up a case, or at least an engagement and interaction between the two that came off as more of, I'm trying to be your mentor, I'm trying to help you gauge through your career, and I'm trying to just be that father figure for you, not someone that you expect to then manipulate you or assault you. So in the midst of her opening statements, she talks about the father figure. She, of course, gets into the allegations, and the allegations are essentially the woman is saying she took this pill, and then her body became limp and numb, and she lost control. And then she tries to explain the continued communication subsequent to the event. And essentially she's saying, well, the lady wanted to maintain some kind of normalcy, and by continuing to communicate with Cosby, that helped her continue some normalcy in her life. So she will also introduce at least one other female that will show that, hey, he did the same thing to her that he did to me. And so, unfortunately for the prosecution, they wanted to introduce at least 13 other people to try to show that. But before the trial, the judge said, no, I'll give you one person. And so she is going to have one person to say, hey, this incident similarly happened the same way it happened to this lady. And by factor of the similarities, it's likely that the woman is telling the truth. So that's the prosecution side. The defense side is, first of all, again, you have a man who is being very aggressive in his tone to the jury. So right off the top, you have a woman who's coming off as very sympathetic and sensitive, and then a man who's coming off very aggressive in his stance. So in his tone, he's saying, hey, first of all, make no mistake, sexual assault is wrong, but so is making a false accusation of assault. And in fact, he makes it seem like this is even more damaging, because not only do you have someone damaging that reputation, but particularly when it's a celebrity, it goes across all boards. And when you have a guy who has set himself up to try to be a role model for so many, this is such a hard fall for him. So in explaining or in trying to prove that this in fact is a false accusation, he talks about some of the contradictory statements she makes in her deposition, as well as stuff she makes to investigators. And he ends it with, hey, the prosecution back in 2005 had the chance to prosecute this case, but they determined not to. And so he wants the jury to lend itself to believe that they didn't have sufficient evidence to show that there was an unconsensual relationship, or that she in fact did not know what was happening. And he even goes on to say they had consensual sex in the past, and that just further proves the kind of relationship that they had. And then he's also going to put her statements and other situations on the stand to again show she's not credible. So it's going to be interesting to see how both sides play out. But again, I want to, for the next couple of weeks, kind of talk about different witnesses that take the stand, as well as how that ties into the prosecution's attempt to show, hey, these elements show the existence of a crime that he is guilty of, and then the defense showing actually the truth, or the facts show that there is reasonable doubt that her story is in fact accurate. So tell me what you guys think, and thanks so much for listening. I will catch you next time on Law Unfiltered.